Please welcome immediate past International Director, past District 1 Governor, distinguished Toastmaster and businesswoman extraordinaire, Roberta Perry. It's our job to get all the guests. We should be flooding this planet. People should just be streaking into the clubs. We have a little bit less than 300,000 members worldwide. And we have some stats here. I brought the board that I got at the International Convention. So when we take a break tonight or at the end, the board's right there. You can find some fascinating information about the world of Toastmasters. One of the pieces that I loved was the fact that they're in the world of clubs. There are a little over 14,000 clubs. There's only 43 clubs that for the last 9 years have gotten 10 Distinguished Club points. Only 43 clubs. Now, there's a gentleman in the back that I really do hate. No, I don't. That's a joke between us. Warner Center.
We
John,
actually love each other.
We really do. I use John all the time on my own club to get more members because they go, Warner Center! But Warner Center had, for the last 9+ years, have gotten 10 points, as well as Renaissance speakers. So I know out of District 52, we have at least 2 clubs that are in that 43 clubs out of the 14,000 clubs. So feel free to look at that. Now, before we get started, how many of you have read Simon Sink's book, Start With Why? He's on TED Talk. John, I really do. My mirror image. If you have not read Start With Why by Simon Sink, or if you don't want to, go up on the Google, just go in, Start With Why, and he's a TED Talker, so if you know what TED Talk is. But he starts with, in order for us to get enthusiastic and really understand how to sell, or to how to bring people in, we need to understand the why behind it. So here's what we're going to do. All of us started out once upon a time walking into our first Toastmasters. Think for a moment why you joined. Just think for a moment why you joined. Okay, now we're going to take 2 minutes. You're going to find somebody in the room you don't know, and you two are going to share why you started or why you joined Toastmasters. Okay, 2 minutes, we're off and roll. All right? Okay. Part 1 tonight is all about driving the hordes of masses to the front door. Remember, we only have 300,000 members across this planet. We should be millions of people joining Toastmasters clubs. But we have a secret in District 52. We have a gentleman who knows how to do that. In fact, he's been doing that for as long as I've known him. He's the past District Governor of District 52. I always think of him as the guest guru. So please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, past District Governor, Peter Gallagher.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight I'll be telling you about how to bring guests to your club. But before we even get to that stage, you have to have a foundation. There's no use in doing all the ads and spending time and money getting guests to your club, and they come, and your club meeting is not spectacular. No one asks them to join, and they walk out the door, and all that time and money is wasted. You need a foundation first. So I'm going to be giving you a 2-part speech. The first part is on the foundation that I believe you need for your club, and then the second part is actually getting the guests to come to your meetings. For the first part, I'm going to use a sample of a club that actually went through a transformation. It was 73 years old. It didn't have any DCP goals. Officers didn't go to club officer training. They didn't care about goals. And I don't usually join a club like that, but it was in my neighborhood, and it was close to my home, and so I joined them. And I told them you need a transformation, and they said, sure. And so I had to wait. I knew eventually they'd come to me because I was a past district governor and they would ask me. And that day came 2 years ago. And so I agreed to be the president, but I said, there's going to be a significant change in this club. You better get ready. So they grabbed their seat and they said, okay. And luckily I got all new members to be club officers, so they didn't know the difference. Because we had an officer meeting in June, and we went over the DCP goals. And I said to them, I think our goal, I explained it or to them, deadline goals, who's going to do that, keep on track of deadlines, who's going to give speeches, who's going to get members. And I explained to them, I think our goal should be President's Distinguished. And that club in 73 years had never been President's Distinguished. They were distinguished once. It was sad. So I said, so they told me they can't do it. I hate that when people tell me they can't do it. So I said to them, actually, I have enough confidence for all of you that you can do it. So just go along with me. Let's vote for, right now, President's Distinguished. And they thought I was crazy. So we did. And I said, now, we have to do some other work too. We have to have, and this is something Toastmasters doesn't do with officer training, but I wish they would. Because when they don't do it at officer training, then I have to do it in my club. And that is, every single club officer needs to know how to fill out the membership form correctly. If you do all your PR and the vice president membership doesn't come to the meeting, and you have guests there, and they want to join, and no one can help them, they walk out the door and they join another club. And all that time and money wasted. Every single club officer needs to know that. And in my club, and any club I belong to, they know how to do it correctly. They have to add it all up, and it has to be right. So that's one thing that had to be done. And so then I said, now how are we going to get people? I live in Arcadia. How are we going to get people to Arcadia? They go to Pasadena, they go to LA, but how are we going to get them out there? I said, we have to put on a show. And so that's what we did. So in November, it took us from July 1st to November to put together our first open house. And our vice president membership was able to get Lance Miller, the world champion of public speaking, to be at our open house. And all the club members were involved, and the club officers, and they were on committees, and we did the PR for that was patch. Every city has a patch, an online newsletter for your PR. They did the district newsletter, they did the division newsletter, and the same in our district. You can get the district, division, let them know what's going on, let other clubs know what's going on when you have a major event. So we did that. And the result of that is we got 6 new members. We were happy. Our first 6 members was in November. And then we had the timeline, and we planned 2 more open houses. And at one of them, Karen Twitchwell came, and she is her specialty is health services, and she's an accredited speaker with Toastmasters. So she came, and actually have a flyer for her down on the table there, and she spoke to us. And we had Terry Mayfield, he's an accredited speaker, and he spoke to us. And we put on a show. We have a special meeting. Guests don't know the difference between a Toastmaster meeting and a showcase, and we don't tell them. So what happens is we have a special meeting, and so that's an open house, and that's a different speech. But I would just let you know that's what we did. I'm getting over a little coffee or cold, so just bear with me. So then we did that. Then we had our anniversary. So we need to celebrate our anniversary. They never had I think they had a party at the 50th. And it was 74 years. I said, we're going to have a party. They said, we can't wait till next year. I said, we're not waiting. I'm going to be president next year. So we had it, and Alfred Hurston came, and he gave a speech. We videotaped that, and that went on our website. So that's, I'm going to talk about that in a little while. Anyhow, people come to our club, and they can see we have camaraderie. They've told me that. When I'm there, I'm not even paying attention to that, because people cancel and whatever before the meeting starts, you have to fill all those roles. Well, newcomers come, and they love it. They see us all work together, and everybody agrees and gets all the positions filled. And sometimes we ask guests to do things, and they do it, and they said, we like that. We like being in a club where we can see that you guys get along. Unfortunately, I've been in clubs where people hate each other. That's not going to help you get members, so I can tell you that. So that's basically the foundation you need. People have to get along, You have to know how to fill out the membership form. You have to put on a show, and you have to have events, in my opinion, to get people to come. The second part is how to get people to come to your meeting. So I mentioned it, the first part a little bit on patch. So the two parts of that are going to be your events like an open house and advertising in the print media and telephoning people and letting other Toastmasters know and going to your local newspaper. And the other part is the internet. I'm clueless as far as the internet goes. So naturally I need other people to help me. Luckily in my Arcadia Club what happened was we had a vice president PR that was a computer engineer. And so he helped us to build a new website. Toastmasters had a new website 2 years ago, and he helped us put that on. And so he spent Thanksgiving on that. And then last year and so that was up and running, and he made comments to it all the time. On our website and our Facebook page and our Meetup, we have 3 people you can contact if you're a visitor. One is the president, one's the vice president PR, and the other one is me. And I have my phone number out there. And they call me. They don't know anything about Toastmasters, and I give them the scoop and answer their questions, and I tell them it's fun. Now, it might not be fun for table topics, but I don't tell them that. When you're new, it's tough. But nevertheless, that's what we do for the new people. So we're going to do the website, and we had a woman that was a professional photographer. All these different people come to Arcadia Club. I don't know why. We have currently the president of Rio Hondo College, a doctor, a lawyer, a movie director. It's amazing. I don't know how they find us. But also other clubs recommend us. We are open to any group, any minority, and everybody knows it. So sometimes people tell us, the club I went to recommended our club is a better fit. I say, welcome. All I can see is new member. That's all I care about. You could be, I don't know, anybody. And I try to sign you up. So that's what the club is about. We had a professional photographer in our club. And so we were having our 74th anniversary. And I asked her to take pictures. And so she said yes. But she had to charge us. I said, well, we're not going to pay. And I took photography class. I said, how about copyright? She said, okay. So all the pictures she took were copyrighted. And the top one was on our website, and you can get, it's on the table there we have a flyer. This is our website. You go to the website, on the opening page is a picture of all the people there at the 74th anniversary with past international president Alfred Herzing, and everybody's waving, and everybody's smiling. What do you think that does? When a visitor visits, they don't know which Toastmaster club to join. They go to all these different sites. Some sites they never update. Some clubs don't have sites. And then they go to a site, and everybody's smiling and laughing and being invited. I think that's why we get 20 new members every year. People want to go to a friendly club, and they want to have fun and be with friendly people. And I think that's part of what it's about. So that was our website. We tried with Facebook, but Facebook hasn't worked out for us. We don't get any members. Our co-VP of PR has emailed as many Toastmasters as he knows in the world, and to get to like our page. So we have lots of likes, but not too much is going on there. We did Meetup. Another club wanted to get a Meetup, a Toastmaster Meetup, and he approached all these other clubs. At that time, they were charging us Meetup was charging $100 a year to start a Meetup site. And his club only wanted to pay $50, so no club wanted to do it. And once I heard about it, I got my club on board, so I said, we'll do it with you. So we started our Meetup club, and for Toastmasters, and Meetup gave us 50% off that year. So that was only $50 for 2 clubs. What to name it? Now, I don't know if you're going to like this because this is in Arcadia and Pasadena, but we wanted to get members. We are just driven to get members and kind of stretch the truth a little bit to get them. And so the name of the Meetup club, LA Toastmasters. Who knows where Arcadia was or Pasadena? But everybody knows LA. We had members from the South Bay, we had members from Westwood, we had members from Lancaster. Guess. Well, come to our club. I did not tell them there were 100 clubs between where you live and here. I said, this is just a great club, sign up. And some of them did. So that's the way it goes. Meetup has been especially good to our club as far as getting people that we cannot normally get to. People on Meetup use the internet, and they might not read newspapers. They might not check out a district website. They might not know any Toastmasters. But they want to improve their public speaking like anyone else, and so they will go there. So you'll get people you would never be able to contact at all through Meetup. And they come to the meeting, and they don't have a clue what's going on, and we try to sign them up. So that's what we do for getting all our members. We do have one other thing we do, is kind of under the table a little bit, is that we put it together a guest packet, and we use the guest packet for many things. We use it for PR, we use it for members, and we use it for guests. And so the packet, so what I have on the table there is an insert for some of the packet. So on the packet here, one thing, let's see, one thing. Well, with this, one thing we have is we have a Toastmaster, an old Toastmaster magazine, and a trifold, a Toastmaster trifold. Now, this is not to pick them up because you missed this issue. These are to put in your packets for either guest packets or membership packets or for PR. What happens is a guest will come to our club. We give them a packet. Inside the packet is the old Toastmaster magazine, the trifold. On the back there's a space here. This space is for a label. Whoever the vice president of PR should be, type up some labels, put the name of the club down here, put the meeting location information, have the name of an actual person in the club, their phone number, and an email address on each one, on this and on the magazine. What happens, we found, is that guests, after they leave the club, they might throw away some of the stuff they got. But they will keep this stuff, and it'll hang around. And they might have a friend that says, I'm interested in public speaking, and they don't know what to say, they're brand new, and they give them this. So they're helping us spread the word about our club. Who can beat that? So that's what we do too. We just, so 2 years ago we got 20 new members, and we were President's Distinguished for the first time. Last year we were President's Distinguished, got 20 members. And so far, in the first 2.5 months of this year, we have 8 new members. And it looks like we'll get 20 again because we just keep on doing it. We promote it every single meeting. So every meeting, because we have the guest comment at the end of the meeting. And then, of course, what I like to say is we don't let them leave. So it's a little joke. What happens is when a guest comes and they go through the whole meeting and they say what a nice time they had at the meeting, then right after that, all the club officers who know how to fill out membership forms, they all make sure that guest cannot get through the door until we ask them to join the club. We have to ask them to join. So if they say we're going to leave early, actually the club officer will follow them out to the parking lot and ask them to join the club. But we're not doing PR for nothing. We are trying to bring in members, and not to be, I don't want to be overly cynical, but we're trying to improve the public speaking of everybody that comes, whether you're a Toastmaster or you're a guest or a future member. That's what we do. And so we're on it all the time. And I would like you guys to actually get on it too and do the best you can to bring in members. You can do it.
Yes, they can.
Madam President.
Are they free?
They are free. Please take them. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so thrilled to see all of you here. We have one thing that we have discovered as Tammy was doing all of the training, Tammy back there, Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training, was doing all the training to the officers. The one question that kept coming up over and over and over again, how do we get new members? Once we get them, what do we do with them? How do we keep them? So this is the first in a series of 3 seminars that we'll be giving on these. One of the reasons we're late is Tammy and I stopped the printer in hopes that the marketing cards would be ready for you. They're cards that we're giving to all the clubs for free to use as marketing tools. So that's another tool that you'll have as soon as they're ready. We are just so thrilled that you're here. And please take the word and spread it to everybody else. because our biggest goal this year is to help the clubs with membership. So any questions, anything you need, please let us know.
Okay.
Roberta.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Into buyers. How many of you were at the awards and installation ceremony this year? A few of you were? Good. Well, what happened there was there were several awards given out by our district governor, and one of the awards, Renaissance Speakers, won. However, there was another award we didn't win. And that award was for the most number of new members the last year. We were a runner-up with 22 new members. And I'm looking at the people coming up, getting the awards, and I'm going, I hate them. I love them. But I'm going to use them in my club for competition. And when Janet and I were putting this together, I went, I have to have them on this panel, because they beat us. They really, truly know how to turn shoppers into buyers. So we're going to do it a little bit like Oprah style, which I get to be Oprah tonight. I'm so excited. We're going to... All right, so we're going to start.
Over there on the right-hand side with the pamphlets.
All right, we're going to start. I'm going to have Vivian introduce yourself and what club you are with, and how many new members you brought in last year.
My name is Vivian Yokelson. I'm a member of Sales Mastery 6178. We meet in Sherman Oaks on Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. And the total number of members, I don't recall, but currently we have 49 members.
49 members? Okay. Well, I think Sales Masters took second place, right?
They actually have 39 members. So
39. Okay. All right.
And now we're 49.
They're now at 40. That's well done. All right, and before we get to Glenn, John?
I'm John Murray with Warner Center Toastmasters.
If they were number one.
And we actually were, unfortunately, we were second to Sales
Masters,
Mastery.
you were number one.
Yes, congratulations to Sales Mastery. We added 31 members.
So that means you added 32.
39.
39.
He remembers the number. He remembers.
I remember these numbers.
Yes.
Boy, when I saw 39, I was very impressed. Yes, we can keep them.
That's
that question,
the
yes.
next panel. We're going to do it. So, would you introduce yourself and your club?
My name is Svetlana Ray, and I'm a member of Warner Center Toastmasters, part of John's Club. We meet at Marriott's Hotel on Oxnard in Woodland Hills on Thursdays evenings, 7 o'clock.
I just tell you that
usually they're earlier, like 6:30, 6:20 even, so we can grab people from the bar.
I've done that. So
I'm the immediate past president, and Svetlana is the immediate past vice president of membership.
all right, I'm not a quiet kind of guy.
I am.
And Burbank Toastmasters couldn't be here tonight, so we invited...
Sloppy seconds.
Yeah, you did. I couldn't resist. All right, Glenn, what club and claim to fame in turning those shoppers into buyers?
Claim to fame, or do you just want to introduce myself?
Just introduce yourself.
I really wasn't quite sure. My name is Glenn Thornton. I'm with EBP Toastmasters. EBP! I love it. I got some of a few of them here.
What is EBP? You can't tell me what it is.
I have no idea. I just made up a couple of terms just to see what we like. Elite Business Professionals.
Yeah.
And we started, officially, we became chartered in March 2012.
All right. But you've really, how many members are at 40?
Yes, 44.
44. And
Yes.
you just chartered?
We chartered in March 2012.
13. Well done.
It was 13.
I always get my years mixed up. I'm
This
sorry.
year.
March
Oh.
2013.
Oh, that's what I thought. So and you've got 40 members.
Yes.
All right, so no wonder you're on this stage. Life is good. Okay, well, let's start with Vivian. Vivian, since you guys were number one last year, how did you do it? What happened in the club? How did you turn those shoppers into buyers?
I think what happened last year, it was around the summer, fall. For a very long time, we had one member that had been there for a very long time and held many officer positions. And members kept coming in that were really strong leaders, and they started taking on the leadership roles. Vice President of Education, President. And last fall, we really started taking over all officer roles. And it was just this flood of people who really wanted to be there, loved the club, and took over. And our president last year, Matt Sherwood, we all give him the credit for really reaching out to everyone and encouraging other members to step up to the plate and become officers. And that's really, I think, what made our club change. I've been there for 3 years, and I've seen unbelievable change just from the fall. So it's the strong leadership. You really need to bring in new blood. That's what I'm trying to say. When you have an established core of leaders, people want, you use those strengths to bring in the other members that you see that are very enthusiastic about the club. You mentor them to bring them in to be officers. So we're very, very strong, actually, in terms of getting people to come, meet up. Everything that was already said here is what we've done.
You do all of that?
We do all that. Meetup is huge. I think that we have an advantage in that our location is in Sherman Oaks. We're right off the 405 and 101. We have a lot of people from the Valley, but a lot of people who don't work in the Valley are coming home, so they go there. So that's just kind of a natural for us as the location. But when people come to our club, the officers and the members that have been there for a very long time always welcome everybody. You come up, you introduce yourself, you write their name down immediately on the lectern. We have a piece of paper. So it's that welcoming feeling. And we're actually now at the stage where we ask people guests to attend 3 meetings before they submit an application.
So 3 meetings.
Yes, and we went to 2, and then now we're at 3, only because we do get a lot of people that are very enthusiastic and they're in that honeymoon stage and they absolutely love it. Like, God, this is awesome, and I want to come back. But we're full. Our room is so full, we're probably going to have to come to a room like this because we don't fit in our community room anymore. So we're kind of bursting at the seams. But it really has to do with the leadership. Get the strong people. We have a lot of enthusiastic members. We brought them on board. I'm Vice President of Education. I love what I do. And it's easy for me because I'm at my desk all day. And now that we've got them in the store, so to speak, we really are focusing on mentoring. That's our project, is mentoring.
Good. All right, Warner Center.
Which one?
Which one?
Either one of you. Let's start with you.
Okay.
You're better looking than John.
Yeah.
I told John I'd give him a bad time all night.
I can take it.
That's I know. Tell us about Warner Center. How do you guys do it? I mean, 31 new members. Good. That's phenomenal.
Well, our visitors get many things every time they visit. But one of the first thing, or maybe the first thing they get is a big hug. And this is Rose Lane, our founder. Now, I believe that most of us know that our club has been around for over 30 years. In fact, we did celebrate the 30th anniversary this year?
Yes.
Or the previous year? Yes. And Rose Lane has that special look. When she sees someone, she puts a number 10 above them immediately. And she begins seeing every beautiful thing, every little thing of value, and points them out. Besides this, at the end of every meeting, even if she doesn't have any role, she would get up and mention something to address all the visitors. To not be afraid, because the club is really polished. We look like we're all professionals. We do come to the meetings in kind of business-like suits or at least business casual. And we stand out like a club of professionals. Well, someone may be a cook, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. We come professional because this is how we want to feel, we want to look. At the same time, we do give hugs all the time. And there are people that are not really they have a tendency to, okay, no, don't touch me. But guess what? In a few meetings and after they join, because they do join, because at the first meeting, they do see the value of what they can learn there. And they can grow. And who says no to that?
That's true.
So in a few meetings, they begin hugging.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
Coming to the club. John.
Thank you, Roberta. We meet at the Warner Center Marriott Hotel, which is a very professional setting. And as Svetlana was saying, that setting in itself adds a lot of strong, positive aspects to our club. We come to our meetings with great expectations for ourselves and for those that also come. Our founder, Rose Lane,
To keep
is...
them to stay here, to join, false promises. No, I'm just kidding you.
Remember our governors.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe back there. I thought she left by now. No, it's Glenn again. It's strong leadership, such as many of us have mentioned. I was fortunate enough, and Peter had mentioned about Circe. When we first started our club, trying to get it chartered, she went and e-blasted all these people. And we had about 25 people that came to come to join. And people like Lawrence, also Agnes, Red Runyon, you probably know him as well. It was great because about 10, 11 people joined that day. They end up being my mentors for when, as Peter said, I reached out to meetup.com and they started coming in and I said, I have mentors for every single one of you. And I think that helps keep them stay because when they're not just thrown to the wolves to do their first speech, they have a mentor, a seasoned mentor. That's incredibly important.
That is good.
And hugs are important too. I want to
Hugs
thank
are
you.
always important.
Hugs are important,
Mentoring's good.
but a combination with a growth, that always helps too.
Let's go back to remember our governorism.
Oh, I keep on forgetting that.
One of the things that I do want to mention about, just one of the things when I was on the board that we looked at is what decision does a guest make as soon as they cross over the threshold? And basically, the first impression of a club, you have about 15 seconds for them to have a good impression. They will make a decision somewhere within that first 15 to 30 seconds whether or not they're interested in joining the club or this is not a place for them. If they think it's a place they want to be, they will spend the rest of the meeting finding things they liked and the reason then for joining the club. If they don't like it in that first 15 seconds, there we'll find things throughout the entire meeting that says, I don't really want to be in this club.
Can I tell
So the area, I mean, your sergeant at arms is absolutely the most important position. They're in charge of that first impression. So yes, you can.
I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate what you're saying there. I walked into a club, one of the clubs, as I was telling Jason back there, that I visited a lot of clubs before I actually settled down on the clubs I was in. I walked into one club, nobody greeted me. Not one person. It wasn't 15 seconds. I'm talking until they
To the whole meeting.
till they hit the gavel. And like you said, that impression inside me was, when does it end? When does it end? Because I want to leave and try out another club.
Exactly.
That is incredibly important. I think our club is very warm about that in the sense of greeting people and making them feel welcome. So you were correct. Thank you.
No hugs yet.
I wanted to add something.
Yes, please.
If that's okay. Many of our visitors contacted us over the internet, via email. And sometimes the president would get the emails and he would forward them to me. I was a VP of membership. I had only probably less than 6 months in the club when I was approached to be a VP of membership. What's that? Anyway, I learned. But before even these visitors stepped through the door, we had exchanged phone calls, some personal emails, and there was something personal in all the emails that we exchanged. I made sure of it. So these people already felt embraced. And when they walked in, they knew the name Rose Lane. They knew the president's name, John Murray. They knew about the club. They knew what to expect. And when they were there, after the meeting, I would follow up with them. And when they come back, they said, you know what? Such an organized club with so much warmth and like a family atmosphere. I'm pointing to Richard because he mentioned when he joined because of the woman who greeted him with a big hug and with such a warmth.
Excellent. Let me ask a question, because you make up, it's a good, I like what you said. Now, John, when you were president,
Yes.
how did you divide the responsibilities between the vice president of public relations and the vice president of membership? Because as she was talking, I'm going, wow, that's VPR.
Right.
So
We
how did you
actually
guys do
at
that?
Warner Center do things
Different. That's
differently. As vice president of membership, she was really the person who was the contact person that would not only contact the people that contacted us by email or by phone, but when people came to the meeting, along with Rose Lane and myself, she would be the first contact person. Our vice president of public relations and our sergeant at arms did not engage in that task, although they would, but that was not their primary
Well, what
role.
did you have your VP of PR do then?
Our
Just
VP of public relations essentially does our newsletter,
Oh, okay.
and that's it.
And does that get blasted out
It
to
gets-
the membership or outside?
To our
as well?
membership is an excellent newsletter, by the
Okay.
way. So
Excellent.
that's the main task.
Perfect, okay.
I just want to follow up a little bit, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The newsletter, Richard Dixon of Cosmopolitan over there, he puts out a marvelous newsletter. And I think, okay, and also he first see, again, I'm mixed up on timetables here, I apologize. Both of them put out wonderful newsletters. It's a wonderful recap
Yeah.
of what's happening. And people like to see their faces, like pictures on there, and what's happened in the meeting. And I was telling Richard one time, I went on a cruise and missed a meeting, and I saw the newsletter, and I started reading it, and it was as if I was there. And that's really how important it is. It made me feel that I was part of it, even though I wasn't there.
Good, very good. Vivian, I want to get back to you on mentoring. How does your club, how do you find mentors? Do you let the member select a mentor, or do you assign mentors? And are you just doing mentoring for just the communication, the competent communication manual? Or have you also got mentors for getting people into the advancement menu? What are you guys looking at as far as mentoring goes?
I think we're working on establishing a mentoring program. The more advanced speakers are, most of them are mentors. We pretty much mention at every meeting in my emails, in the welcoming email that I send out, or that the president sends out. We want you to have a mentor. If there's anybody that you see that you like their style, that you feel comfortable with, let us know. We just started, because we have a lot of people now focusing on getting their competent leadership, because that's what I've been really pushing,
Right.
is their competent leadership manuals. We, instead of focusing on a membership campaign that brings new members in, because we don't need that, we've asked the person that's going to help with that to focus on pairing members with mentors. So this is something new. We're still establishing our mentor, but we're really focusing on it because the ones that do have mentors are the ones that are getting further along, are doing their speech, their project manuals, and competent communicator. I've been there for quite a long time. I would like a mentor. So we're working on it. Definitely, just because you're advanced doesn't mean you don't need one. But being a mentor, we also have some people who have more than one mentor. One of my mentees said, wow, I wish I had an ounce of her performance skills. She was talking about another member who gave a phenomenal speech. And she's in theater. I said, well, why don't you ask me to be your mentor? She looked at me and said, you can have two. I won't get offended. Help her bring out that, that boogie in you that you want. And so it's things like that. We're a very welcoming club, very warm. We want to be there to support. And just like you have all said it, that's the first thing the first impression is greet someone when they come in. And the comments that we get, I'm sure everybody does this, assuming everybody does this, is at the end of the meeting, we ask for guest comments.
Yes.
And over and over and over again, here you guys are such a warm club, welcoming, warm, and it seems like you all want to help each other.
Good, good. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. One of the things that we learned when I was on the board with some of the research that was being done about the branding is when we were looking at the generation 20 to 30 something, and what did they most want out of the Toastmaster Club? And the first thing that was on the list was mentoring. They want to be mentored. And that surprised a lot of us, thinking, wow, we come in and we can do it ourselves, but it was the mentoring.
Can I throw an addendum to that?
Throw it out, and
Just
then
really
we're gonna take a minute to see if there's a question.
On the mentoring, as soon as we have somebody in our club, we actually assign them a mentor. And one of the things I like, and Lawrence does this very well, is he gets together with them one-on-one. What are your goals and what are your aspirations towards Toastmasters? Because that's, like you were mentioning before, let's get that why inside them. Then we'll go ahead and start forming your foundation of communication and leadership skills.
Yeah, oh, so important. Any quick questions for this talent out here? Yes, ma'am.
Do you try to track or get any insight into why people leave, outside of the ones that move out of the area or something?
Yes, the number one reason is life changes. They've changed their job, they've changed their job location.
That's not quite what I'm asking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What I said, aside from that you
Oh,
can't
okay.
control, is anybody doing sort of surveys, phone calls, follow-ups? Because we tried to do that and we found it very hard to get to the information, and I just wonder if anybody knows.
May I speak?
Has figured that
Absolutely.
one out.
Johnson?
Our club is very strong in terms of follow-up with current members, and especially members that are not attending meetings regularly. Once they start dropping off in terms of attendance, we immediately call them.
Now, who's the we? Is that the president?
Well, it can be any number of us.
Okay.
We have Rose, our founder, myself when I was president, Svetlana as vice president of membership. The current leadership would do the same thing.
Okay.
We don't let people fall off and into Never Never Land. We try to find out what it is that the reason that they're not showing up, and what we can do to change that. Obviously, people have changes in their life, they have work that has changed, but those that we can help and assist, we do whatever we can to keep them in the club and keep going.
Yes.
But
Well,
we do it by calling and not by emailing too, but not by just emailing and just have it go into.
Now, but saying that, we also, but it's still, because your club lost, what, 12, 15 members?
We lose about 20 to 25%.
Okay.
Over the course of a year versus the average of 30+%.
Right.
So we're on the low side.
But
We have a better retention level than most clubs.
Well, speaking of retention, we're about ready to go into part 3, but we're going to take a 3-minute break. There's food, continued food, and we don't do that. And we have a couple of new people in the group, and I'm going to start with you guys. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Natalie Speech, and I'm with Imagination at NBC Universal. We've been chartered for 4 years now, and I am the current president of Imagination at NBC Universal.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Micah Manquin. I'm from KPMG Toastmasters out of downtown. As much as it sounds like it, it's actually not a radio station. We are one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, so we're very proud of that. We have been a chartered club for just over 2 years, I believe now. So we're still a pretty young club, but doing very well. We have some great leadership there as well.
Good.
Nice to meet you
Vivian's back with us from Sales Masters, which is a community club, right? We got a couple corporate clubs, community, and Warner Center is back again, and it is definitely a community club. All right, let's start. Well, how do you do it? Let's start with the corporate clubs first. So, how do you retain your members? Give us some secrets about what you do to retain your membership.
it's great knowing the numbers that we do, that people lose at different clubs. And we'll lose some during the course of the year, and they'll come back at some point during the year. But I think how we are able to retain our members is because, again, because of leadership, and that we bring some type of excitement. We've been a closed club from when we first started to just recently this year in January, we sort of opened it up. We actually opened it up to others. We don't advertise that we're an open club, but on the average, I would say 3 or 4 people a day will contact us and say, hey, I'm interested in your club. Can I come by? We heard about you on the Toastmasters website. And I think for us, as far as retaining, I think they like coming in and getting that warm feeling. They really like the fact that we ask them why they're there, we allow them to talk at the end, and we definitely make them do a table topic. And I know, Joe, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to let them volunteer to do a table topic.
No,
but we make them do it. We tell them you have to do it. But they actually believe it and actually get up there. We'll say their name and just start clapping, and they're like, what? And then they'll go up there anyway. And on the average, they'll last between 30 and 57 seconds. So that's good.
Micah, how about you? How do you retain your membership? Now, percentage-wise, are you below that 30% in loss of members?
I believe we do a very good job of retaining our members. I think we're fortunate in the fact that, like I said, we have strong leadership in our club. I'm sure this won't surprise anyone about a bunch of accountants, but we're also very value-driven, and our leadership, I think, offers a lot of value to each and every one of our members, whether it's through hands-on mentoring, which starts doubling more and more as not only public speaking, but also professional development, personal development. So they find that is an easy way to learn how to navigate kind of the political structure of the corporate world and get out there. So I think it really always comes back to that value that we're adding. If we can continue to add a significant amount of value for our members, there's no reason that they would leave. And we've seen that year after year now, where people just keep on coming back and getting more and more excited and wanting to bring the new groups of people in as well.
Good, very good. Mentoring, we keep hearing mentoring tonight. It's perfect. Vivian, what does your club do?
Back to the leadership, what we also do at our meetings, we will ask current members how being in Toastmasters has helped them outside of Toastmasters.
Excellent.
And people have stood up and said, you know, I put in for a promotion at work, I didn't get it, I was told I wasn't polished enough, I came here, I showed them that I've been coming, I got my promotion.
Wow.
So people hear that and like, wow. Another gentleman was doing virtual seminars and said that there was a whole bunch of people on the line and they were trying to get going, and he said, you know, I use the timing skills and what we do here when we time speeches. Okay, why doesn't everybody have 1 to 2 minutes? So we constantly ask people, and we were even thinking of, instead of opening thought of the day, because a lot of people actually ramble on for 2 or 3 minutes with that opening thought, or they just find something off the internet. I thought maybe we can offer that you could say, how has Toastmasters helped me outside of Toastmasters? So just constantly reminding and reaching out. The other key thing, as I said before, the fall of last year, we had one main member who had a lot of the roles. And I remember a year or two ago, I was VP of PR, I think. I don't even remember because I didn't know what I was doing. Because my name was on something and he did everything. But now that it's not like that, we've all been trained, all of our officers have been trained, and we're going to be trained.
Did you hear that?
We actually know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And we run our club similar to you, where PR does one thing, membership does another. And Sergeant at Arms, we didn't realize Sergeant at Arms was supposed to be the person that brought the chairs out. And so our officers are really trained, and when you have a well put together leadership, people see that and they appreciate that and they want to stay. But really reminding people what the value is again.
Exactly. Speaking of that, one of the things we do at Renaissance Speakers is during the business meeting, now that I'm president, in fact we've been doing it for years, we have members who spoke outside the club. So I call for all members who spoke outside the club this last week. There's something special. and they get up and they have about 15 seconds to tell their story of how Toastmasters helped them do whatever it is that they had to do this last week in their professional and community life. And it really does kind of keep the group bonded. So I'll start with John this time. John, what do you do?
What do we do to retain members?
Yes.
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with our club meetings, our club atmosphere. We have meetings that offer a lot of not only value, but fun. We actually have a good time. And we have great speakers. We have just wonderful, I think, warm, embracing atmosphere in our club, which makes us feel like, and I always referred to our club as a family. When I was president, I referred to it as a family. And I really believed that we all looked at each other as a member of that family. And when you feel like you're a member of a family, you don't really feel like leaving it unless it's dysfunctional. And we're functional. We're not a dysfunctional family, we're actually a very functional family. So you actually want to stay and be a part of it. We have a very good group of people, and we have a very good founder who is absolutely outstanding. We follow the fundamentals of Toastmasters to a T, except we do divide a few things a little bit, but we really concentrate on those fundamentals. If you concentrate on the fundamentals of Toastmasters, that program that they lay out for you, and you really follow it, your club will be successful.
Well,
There's no doubt about
and
that.
speaking about that, talk about the educational program within your club and what you do, because that's part of the retention, is people getting through the manual.
Of course. It is one thing that happens at the meetings, but there's a lot more happening on the background before the meetings. First of all, we always have our roles filled before that. And before the meeting, the general evaluator reaches out to get in touch with the evaluators. The evaluators reach out to the speakers. Nobody's left out. The mentors reach out to all these members that have taken on a role. Do you know what to say? Do you know what to do? Then the VP of membership reaches out to all members to say, hello, we are having a meeting, and this is this Thursday. Are you coming? And, kind of personal note. It's not like just one type of template email, please reply. No, it's something is going on. And every single member feels like a part of the family. They didn't join a club, they joined a family. If I have to say one word, what happened, what the reason is why the members remain members of our club, is care. One more thing I'd like to add, because we're a big club and we want to encourage everyone to give more speeches,
yes,
to do something more. We do have on a regular basis so-called speak-ups. Now, I'm not sure if that is part of a Toastmasters International, or it is just some clubs do it. But
Most big clubs do that.
Thank you. We do have that on a regular basis, and this is how we achieve bigger goals.
So for those people who don't know what a speak-up is, tell them what that is.
Yes, speak-ups are meetings that are not exactly that much formal meetings as the regular meetings. We meet somewhere else, not on our regular place. This is usually a personal residence of one of our members. We never had an empty vote. Always someone will say, yes, please come to my house. Then we do have a Toastmaster, we do have a general evaluator, we have about 6-7 speeches, and we do have a round table of evaluations. So the speakers have benefited, and every single member that is not a speaker that evening is benefited because he or she gave an evaluation and practiced.
How many educational completions last year? Do you remember, John?
I think we had 17 or 18.
Then we did beat you at something.
I know, we were number 2 in that. Only 2, only the Renaissance.
Sorry, I had to.
I know. We got this friendly rivalry going.
Talk about the confident leadership.
for years now.
Yes.
Confident leadership. How do you promote the confident leadership manual? Does it work in helping getting people and retaining people, or is it just something we kind of all have to do? Do you use it?
We use it. They go hand in hand, especially in our club. We're like I said, we're part of NBC Universal, and what's happened is a lot of the employees, bosses will say, hey, you need to go and join Toastmasters. It'll help you out. And when they're in there, I have been the VP. I was the VP of Education for 3 years. So my goal was to make sure that everyone knew about the manual, because a lot of people come in and do the speeches and, we have another manual? Yeah, it came together when you first joined. So we try to keep the DCP goals in perspective and allow each person to do a Toastmaster or evaluation and explain to them why you want to be a Toastmaster. You want to be able to lead your meetings in your departments, and why do you want to be a good evaluator? And once they understand that being a good evaluator at Toastmasters, where you give the sandwich approach, it helps them in communicating in their job, or if they're, let's say that we had a vice president of HR in our Toastmasters. So it helped him with his evaluations when he's looking to hire someone for a job. So if you look at the leadership manual and it shows you about how to put together a contest or how to do a membership drive, these are the things that they're going to do in their own private lives. These are things that they can do within their job, and this helps them to facilitate discussions. That's been a big thing. There was someone in our club who had an outside business and needed to get rid of their business partner. And since they had that facilitated discussion, they were able to utilize that as a way of asking everyone to evaluate their presentation and then ask the questions. In their evaluations in the round robin, they were given ideas on how to address their business partner. So that was a really good way for that person to get out of their business relations on the outside of the organization because of the help from the Toastmaster. So that helped, and that again helps with the leadership manual. And so we just ask for volunteers and we explain to them every single step. You don't have to always be the Toastmaster, but in being a Toastmaster, that's just basically being a leader. And communication and leadership go hand in hand. So if you're not a good communicator, you can't be a really good leader.
Well said. Well said. That's good. Anything else you guys do in your club to keep the retention and people signing up again? And dues are due. Dues are due. Janet, right? Dues are due.
The only thing I would add to the competent leadership aspect as well is that we've actually had several people in our club that have come in and been amazing speakers. They can just get up in front of a room and they're there and they're present and you're just drawn into their stories and they're amazing. You ask them to be a Toastmaster and they fall apart.
Or often.
The simplest roles in the club, they cannot handle it. So it's been very interesting for us over the past couple of years as we have looked for that leadership team and establishing and having folks who can come into our meetings and do those roles, that even though they do go hand in hand, they're opposite sides of the coin sometimes too. And being able to show that, completing this competent leadership manual shows that you have a well-rounded perspective on public speaking, not only as being that center person up there that's dominating the room, but also a support individual in part of a meeting or part of a group. That's been very valuable to explain to all of their supervisors and all that.
So you've used it then.
Absolutely, yeah. We try to provide feedback to any supervisors. We have performance management leaders at KPMG, so we do provide that feedback constantly to add value to the member, but also give them kudos for their involvement in our club as well.
Good, good, good. Excellent. Vivian, you were shaking your head like,
I agree with
Same
you.
thing.
We have some advanced speakers who will blow through the manuals and they're in advance. I can't get them to the timer.
Yeah.
And it's being able to communicate means listening.
Right.
It's hard to sit there and type because sometimes I'm so engrossed in the speech. Oh, the red card so it's really important to remind them. And what I did this term, I blew up the goals. There's a goals sheet in it's on the website, and it tells you how to get to distinguished and president's distinguished. I blew it up, and I bring it to the meeting once a month, or whenever we have something to add. So I make them accountable, or else it's just me being accountable for everyone, and it gets boring. So I'll say, look, I'm getting my CL, and look, we've got the 8 new members. Look how close we are. We're only 2 months into the year, and we're almost there. So, it's a visual effect type of thing, but you're absolutely right. The CL is really the competent leader.
it's important. We just need to push it as much as we can to get everybody. Do you guys do that too? You use them, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Our manuals we must complete the manuals, and we must do manual speeches and complete all of our manual tests. Absolutely.
Oh, and one thing I want to add, because we have had some advanced speakers moving on, you actually cannot get your advanced leadership, I think it's silver, without having your advanced, you cannot get your advanced communicator silver without having your competent leader manual completed.
Right.
So you may want to tell them that. If they're working in the advanced manuals, it's like, oh, they're not going to like this. They got to go back and do all this stuff. Anyway, that's another incentive.
I don't have it in front of me. Joe or Tammy, do you have it in? They're going to look it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's your
Oh, there's
ACS.
Tammy's got it.
It might be silver and gold.
I think it's silver or bronze.
Are you saying that you have to...
In order to get your advanced communicator silver, I believe, or bronze, you have to have completed the leadership manual, the competent leadership manual.
I'm not seeing it on the sheet.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I will look into that for sure. But
Okay.
it doesn't say it on this little picture.
Okay.
Well, you were
Just tell them
surprised.
that you need to.
Tell them what you want.
All right, any questions for this amazing panel? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Vivian, could you explain more about this goals chart that you put up? That's fascinating to me, and I would like to understand what it is you do.
I got it at the officers training in June. It's in the booklet. I can email it to you. It's on the website. It's a
It's on the
goal
Toastmasters.
tracking sheet.
Perfect, okay.
And there's two sheets. I have them both, one on each side. One of them is more is general, and the other one is more detailed. And I just took it to Kinko and blew it up. And I think then I found out I think Toastmasters actually has a big poster of it.
Well, I'd run over Kinko's in a heartbeat.
Tamala knows.
Do you mean the DCP goals or the goals for each individual
The
award?
DCP, the Distinguished Club Program.
And then the reverse side of it has
Yes.
places that we can put our names.
Yes. You can get folded out versions of that from...
Toastmasters.
Every club should have got one. When the club president last year, when you received the manuals, and that is a folded out DCP plan.
Oh, really? So you may have gone one. I just blew it up at Kinko's.
It's
and I
called
bring
the
it.
DCP, what?
Distinguished Club Program Goal Tracking Chart.
Thank you.
We have time for one more question. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
How do you motivate your members to sign up for speeches in advance and actually have them participate rather than, sign up a month in advance and then have to come up and say, oh, I can't do it, and then like at the very last minute. And then
You have to ask person to person. It always works best face to face.
Yeah, and then giving them a mentor for those first 3 speeches is really helpful because it helps them think about a subject matter, because a lot of them, you can get away with the icebreaker, but after that they're like lost, so they'll sit for months and not have done the second speech. But if you give them a mentor and they're with you, helping you to think of ideas and stuff, that actually helps them move forward. And just by asking, oh, I don't have a speaker today, can you do yours? And they'll do it. They'll do it because they don't want to let you down, or they want to feel a part of it as well. So that works.
Any, Vivian, or?
Yeah, if you try to have the new member have a mentor and ask the mentor if they can meet with the new member for a cup of tea before the meeting or whatever, just to get that one-on-one changes everything. When you have that one-on-one communication, that's what I do with all my mentees. You kind of establish a friendship, and then they don't want to let you down. And you encourage them, what are your feels? What's scary, or, okay, be timer and off counter until you get to your speech. You're going to warm it, you're going to feel warmed up.
Well, let's do it this way. I think all of you probably have the last words of wisdom. We'll start with John.
Thank you, Roberta. I would really like to emphasize how strong our founder, Rose Lane, has been to our club. She is 90 years old. You would not think she was a day over 70. And she can take on anybody in the world in terms of Toastmasters. She loves it. She loves her members. She's given that love to each of us in the club, and we have passed it on through her. I think that is the key to our club and the key to our success, and the continuity of having 30 years of her being our founder and our guiding light and guiding principle.
I look forward to meeting her.
Yes, she's an amazing person.
Looking forward to being there.
All right. Well, what can I say after John?
A lot.
But I'm sure. Of course. I am sure that in each and every club there is someone whose name is not Rose Lane, but can take on a role and be the spirit of that club, and to encourage everybody and to motivate everybody, as Peter said earlier. Yes, you can. I hate that word. You can't? No, it doesn't exist. Yes, you can.
I agree. I love those words.
Last words. I would basically say it is the sergeant at arms, and it is how you welcome people to your club that's very important. If they feel that you cared what they had to say, if you even ask them to tell us why you're there, they'll come back. They'll come back for nothing else of that camaraderie and that peace that they had when they came there. So that's, to me, I think that's what brings people back all the time with our club.
Michael?
I would just like to reiterate, I think what we've all said before, as far as the value that we add to our members. If you really focus on the value that you add to your members, set your goals according to those, everything else kind of falls into place right after that. And that value that you add for each club may be different. It may be professional development for one. It may be fun and social atmosphere for another. It may be storytelling. It doesn't matter what that specific value is. Choose that value and go after it relentlessly. Stand up on a hilltop and shout it out. Make sure everyone on your leadership team knows about it. Decide that, go after it, and everything else will fall into place.
Excellent. Vivian?
They said it all. I would just like to add, if you're a small club or a club looking for members, want ideas, give us a call. If you find us on the internet, call me. We would love to come and speak at your club, or maybe come visit and maybe give you some suggestions. But we're open to that. Our president actually wanted me to specifically say that. We would love to come and visit your clubs and have an opportunity to speak there and see however we can help.
And I think that probably goes for everybody up here. And any of the big clubs out there, we're always trying to find places to put our speakers. So anybody wants speakers, evaluators, coaches, we're there.
Well, could you put that in an email and just give, your names, remind us who you are, because maybe we'll be calling,
We will be calling.
All right, well, a huge round of applause for the